possibility of exchange between Indonesia and India and Kashmir and all. And there is much potential for education. But what is the problem? Where we are lacking? I will just talk, it was just an introduction to my topic because I wanted to express my feelings first. That's very important. Feelings are more important than thoughts. Feelings make us something, not only philosophies. Feelings make us to get attached, get united, work together. Because as Muslim, it is our obligation. Where our Muslims need some help, we should help them. We have to help each other. تعاونوا على البر والتقوى ولا تعاونوا على الإثم والعدوان. And what else is the best bir than Taaleem? Taaleem is the beginning of everything. Iqra bismi rabbika allazi khalaq. The first verse of Quran was about Taaleem. When there is Taaleem, there is taqwa. إنما يخشى الله من عباده العلماء. If there is Taaleem, there is Tazkir. يا معشر الجن والإنس إن استطعتم أن تنفذوا من أقطار السماوات والأرض فانفذوا لا تنفذون إلا بسلطان. When there is Taaleem, there is Quwwah. وَيَدُوا لَهُ مَسْتَطَعْتُم مِّن قُوَّةٍ. You have to prepare all types of things for protecting yourself. And that comes from education, technology, science. Now, West is working on those verses of the Quran. Muslims are sleeping. I was thinking that we need a philosophy of science. And Islamic studies, Islamic learning has to become a philosophy of science for all the subjects of Muslim universities. We may teach engineering, we may teach education, we may teach economic, we may teach sociology, we may teach philosophy, we may teach engineering, but our philosophy of science should be Islamic. For what we teach? What is the purpose? What is the goal? Do we want to be very wealthy persons, rich persons, so that we may enjoy the fruits of life? Or we want to be pious persons, Ibadur Rahman, Yamshawna fil ardi hawna, wa iza khatabahumul jahiluna qalu salama. Do we want to become just like consumerists as we have in the West nowadays? Have we become hedonists, enjoy life, eat, drink and be merry? No one can escape the searching eye of death, as the Charvaka of Indians would say. A school of thought in India was Charvaka. They believed that eat, drink and be merry. No one can escape the searching eye of death. Enjoy life. As nowadays in the West, enjoy life. Boys, girls, men, women, they don't care for any value. There is no family system. Mother is somewhere, father is somewhere, children have become hippies. Hippies, you know hippie? They are roaming around. I have seen some in Kashmir also. They don't know where is their mother. They don't know where is their father. So this is also a life. This modern education has led us there, where there is no purpose of life, only enjoyment, enjoyment, enjoyment. That is known as hedonistic philosophy. And our education is based on hedonistic, utilitarian, or consumerist considerations. Philosophy behind science is materialism, atheism, agnosticism. I am a student of philosophy. Comparative philosophy, Islamic and Western. Comparative religions. I tell you that modern education system is based on these atheistic philosophies, man-made philosophies, ideologies, which have created chaos. Our science has no direction. Science is making weapons, technology is making weapons which can destroy the world 10,000 times. We have as many as weapons this time in the arsenal of the superpowers. They can destroy the world 10,000 times, 10,000 times. Only if sometimes, God forbid, something happens, no one will live in this world. If something happens, nuclear or other war happens, what will happen to us? Do you know what is happening to our environment? We are at the verge of destruction. The snow is melting fast. Water resources are depleting with a very rapid, speed. Ozone layer has become vulnerable. Forests, mountains, rivers have become polluted. There is lot of aggrandizement. Capacity of poor people is increasing in workload, but they don't get their proper, earnings or the value of their work. So where our education is leading us? It is leading us to no man's land. It is leading us to such a chaos. Our youngsters have lost their direction. They have lost their chastity. They have lost their modesty. Haya has gone. Illan tastahi fasna ma'ashita. Call the Prophet. He says that if don't you haya, you do whatever you want to. Our youth have no haya now. Where has that haya gone? That has been taken away by our education, modern education, policies of the education, because it has no orientation. There is no consideration for life hereafter. There is no taqwa. As Iqbal would say, Allama Iqbal, Muhammad Iqbal, he would say, हया नहीं है ज़माने की आँख में बाकी, खुदा करे कि तेरे रहे तेरा शबाब बेदार. Oh youngsters, there is no modesty in the eye of the modern times. May Allah keep your modesty intact. So what is happening? What type of education we are giving to our children? We may make them scientists, we may make them engineers, we may make them doctors, but are we making them good human beings? No, our education lacks that, because this education has nothing to do with values. It has nothing to do with God. It takes us to materialism. I am conscious what I am saying because I know the philosophies of education. Naturalism. You are teaching it. Naturalism, positivism. What is positivism? I know. In positivism, there is no scope for theology. Because according to Auguste Comte, there are 3 stages of civilization. One civilization stage was theology, when prophets were saying something, theologians were, and that stage has passed. Second stage is metaphysical. That has also passed. Third stage is positivistic, scientific. Now scientists are everything. No profit, no role for profit in modern education. No role for theologians. No role for philosophers even. So where from the values will come? That will come from Islam. That is Islamic education. That is Islamic learning. هو الذي بعث في الأميين رسولا من أنفسهم يتلو عليهم آياته ويزكيهم ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة وإن كانوا من قبل لفي ضلال مبين. This world is nowadays in ضلال مبين. Let me tell you. Let us understand our responsibilities as the educators. We are Muslim. كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس. We are responsible for whole universe, for whole world. We have not to live for ourselves only. We have to show the way to the world. This time, whole educational system is based on zalala. There is no tazkiyah. There is no talim of book, kitab wal hikmah. There is no yatluna alayhi ayatihi, no tilawa. Then what is there? Only getting degrees, only getting grades, only becoming engineers, only becoming doctors for worldly purposes, for becoming a hedonist, for enjoying life, for making your world better. No one cares for any value. No one cares. So here comes the value of Islam, where we need to bring tazkiyah back, tazkiyah. We have to make our children religiously, morally, spiritually conscious that you are human beings, you are followers of Islam, you have to follow the values of your religion, you have to represent your Islam everywhere by your actions. Secondly, we have to make them conscious about Quran. And Quran is the book which gives you knowledge of all. Tibyana likul shay. I have studied philosophies of Marx, Hegel, Bertrand Russell, Hume, Descartes. But when I read Quran, I feel Quran is ultimate. There is nothing in Davy, John Davy, I know his philosophy, educationist. So, but when I see Quran, Quran has talked about all values, whichever are needed, any time in the world. We need to make our youngsters aware about Quran. We need to tell them what is hikmah. Al-hikmatu dalatul mu'min fahisu wajduha fahu ahakku biha. Hikmah is the last property of a believer. Wherever he gets it, he should pick it up. Hikmah may be technology, but that is to be accommodated within our Islamic values. That is not for the sake of worldly gains, but for a betterment of our societies, for eradication of poverty, for protection of environment, for creating peace on earth, for making this world a better place to live. Now there is no peace. There is turmoil. There is terrorism. There is attacking. There is clash of civilization. There are killings. There are bombings, explosions. This world has become vulnerable to any destruction, any time. We are nearing doomsday by our own hands, actions. Zahar al-fasad fil barri wal bahr bima kasabat aydi an-nas. Whatever our education, whatever our systems, governments are giving us, they are taking us close to destruction. So we can make this world safe by Islamic learning. So this is the first point. As Makkans, they had no other book than Quran. They had no teacher other than Quran. They were educated from all angles. I have worked on this. Prophet ﷺ taught Sahaba everything, whatever was needed. And Prophet ﷺ was the most modern leader of his times. He was knowing all the sciences of his times. He sent some Sahaba to Jaresh to learn different type of arts. He sent Umar bin Abdullah bin As to learn Hebrew language. He allowed Zayd bin Sabit to learn Hebrew language and also Syrian language, Syriac language. So he never stopped Muslims to go for technology. And when there was war of Khandaq, Ahzab, when they were, surrendered by all sides by their enemies, Ahzab, all the groups, all the armies had surrendered Medina. Prophet ﷺ asked Hazrat Salman Farsi, what you do in such circumstances? He said, oh Prophet, we make trenches. And Prophet made trench. That was the technology with Persians. Muslims had no objection to adopt the technology of Persians. There was nothing halal. There was nothing haram. As we have made everything haram now. It's very bad. Our theology, I am a student of religion, I know what I am saying. We have made many things haram. Science is haram, English is haram, engineering is haram, going to sky is haram. Then what is halal? I don't know what is halal then. Allah has made most things halal, only few things haram. And we have made most things haram and few things halal. So this is not Islamic education. Islamic education is to go for any knowledge, if it is useful, says Ghazali, Imam Ghazali. I have done my PhD on Imam Ghazali, my PhD thesis. I have 4 books on Imam Ghazali, I have worked on Ghazali's epistemology, theory of knowledge. Ghazali says, even the knowledge of magic is better than ignorance. And he says, someone will ask me why it is better. Magic is haram. He said, okay, it is haram, but knowledge always leads us to action. And ignorance leads us to inaction. Action is always better than inaction. So that was the value of knowledge for Muslims. Why they Knowledge is nowadays with West, not with us. We have only theology, we have only polemics, we have only, ilm al-kalam. I am student of ilm al-kalam, but we have nothing now. Only we have these polemics, nothing else. Just make people kafir and Musliman, giving fatwa. We have only fatwa now, nothing else. We have left education, we have left science, we have left technology. The result is, we are at the receiving end. Everyone is dictating terms to us. We are not able to use our own resources because we don't have know-how. We can't use our, oil because we can't refine it. We have to get help from foreigners to get our oil refined in our countries. We are not able to take out the mines of gold and silver and copper from our mines because we don't have technology. And we are waiting West should come, they should help us. But why they should help? If they help, that help will come with cost. Then they will start ruling you. They will start dictating you. If you are weak in knowledge, you are weak in education, you are weak in science, you are weak in everything. So Islam started with knowledge. So this is first point. Now let us talk about how we can make this. So first point was, very important point was, let us understand that we have to make Islamic learning, Islamic studies as the philosophy of science for all sciences. You may be a scientist, but a good human being, good Muslim. Believing Muslim, believing scientist, as Ibn Sina was, as Ibn Rushd was, as Ibn Hassan was, as Al-Biruni was, as Al-Zahrawi was. They are the names. They have given the world science. Their statues are outside the universities of Naples and Barcelona. West is worshipping them because they were scientists. They were physicists. They were having technology. The first circumference of the earth has been discovered by Al-Biruni. The first surgery has been made by Zahrawi, Al-Zahrawi, Qasim Zahrawi. First, medicine for heart has been discovered by Ibn Sina. And he has made first surgery also. And he knows, I have worked on this. He says where we should make surgery of a patient, which place is better for that. He has talked about estimator, psychology, human psychology and the role of it in treatment of, patients. Now that is Freud, that is Jung, that is parapsychology in modern world. They have taken it from us, from our great people. So they were scientists but Muslims also. So we need make Islamic studies, Islamic learning as the basis for all sciences. Our all scientists, our all engineers, our all doctors need to be taught about Islamic values. As has been said by Kamal Hassan of Malaysia. He says how great injustice we are doing with Allah, who is the creator. We are studying the creations, universe, but we do talk about creator. But a Muslim scientist, he will say, Rabbana ma khalaqta haza batila subhanaka faqina azab an-nar. Inna fi khalqis samawati wal ard wa ikhtilafil layli wan nahari la ayatin lil albab. Allazina yazkuruna Allah qiyaman wa qu'udan wa ala junubihim wa yatafakkaruna fi khalqis samawati wal ard. They are doing tafakkur on earth and heavens. This is science, this is astronomy. This is astronomy. Allah has told us. And you have seen Surah Nur about Zulmat Fawqa Zulmat. This is oceanography. This is oceanography. Have you read Surah Nahl? That's about botany. How this honeybee is collecting nectar from the flowers. That is botany. Have you seen Surah Namal? That's about insects. Mantiqutar. Mantiqutar is also a knowledge. You can learn the language of birds. We have been told that in Quran, that Hazrat Dawood was knowing the language of the birds. Now, Western scientists, researchers are working how to decode their language of birds and animals. That was mentioned in Quran. So what I want to say, what is my point, that we need to make Islamic learning as the focal point for teaching all other subjects. Islamic studies should be not the subject, it should be the subject. It should be not one subject. It should be that much important that every scientist, every philosopher, every doctor, every engineer, every student of mass communication, mass media, management, he should be first made acquainted with Islamic values, why we get education, so that we may become good doctors, good engineers, we may become God-fearing, scientists, so that we may make this world a better place to live in, because this world is going to be destroyed otherwise. Our educational philosophies have taken us there where there is no scope for any value, where there is no virtue, where there is no value other than consumerism, hedonism, utilitarianism, and everyone is trying to exploit their resources to the extent that our environment is at very great danger. Everything is going to be disturbed. There will be chaos if we do arrest these tendencies. So, second point is how we can do this. We have so many universities in the Islamic world. We have very rich Arab countries. They have a lot of oil. But who is using this oil? America. They are using our resources. And they make our money to destroy each other. Now there is fight in Syria. One group is supported by Russia, second is supported by USA. And who are being killed? Whether Shia or Sunni, they are Muslims. We don't understand. I had an interview in Tehran Times. I was asked a question, why Arabs are being used by superpowers against Muslims. I said, even Iran is being also used. I said, what Iran is doing in Syria? They are killing those Syrians. And they invite Russians to kill Syrians. And America is, Saudi Arabia is inviting, America to kill Houthis. And we are allowing our enemies to exploit us. So my point was that then I told them that what we are doing nowadays, our resources are not being used for a proper education, for proper training, for developing infrastructure. We need good universities where we have the best education of science, where we have best education of technology, where we have best education about, different type of mineralogy. We should know where we have mines, so that how we can use that technology to take advantage of all these resources. We have water resources. We need to have good knowledge of hydrology, electricity, how to make electricity out of water. We need scientists who can develop theories so that we can have good production in this modern age. 4.0. It has to be 5.0 now, because China has gone to 4.50. We are not even at 4.0. So we have to take advantage of, but we should have first feeling for our own role as a Muslim, as Ameen, as Khalifa. Tudu al-amanati ila ahliha. We have to provide everyone whatever is his or her right. We have not to لِكَيْ لَا تَكُونَ بَيْنَ أَوْلِيَاءَ دَوْلَةً بَيْنَ أَغْنِيَاكُمْ. So our resources should not remain only amongst a few people, rich people. It should just circulate among poor people also. And the poverty of Indonesia, poverty of India, poverty of Africa, that is inviting many missionaries to work for proselytization. They are converting Muslims into Christians because Muslims are poor. Why people are taking advantage of our poverty when we have so many resources? Why we are not using that for eradication of our poverty? And the best way for that is education. Without education, without scientific education, without technological education, without modern education, digital education, we will not be able to compete with the world. So this is very important. Let us try to harness the resources of Muslim countries and use them for all our development in all countries. We need to have an international type of collaboration for that. We have to start from somewhere. We have to give ideas. Ideas are precious. Do think that you are thinking in Indonesia, you have some good idea that will not work, it will work. as has been said, Victor Hugo, no one is as strong as the idea whose age has come. And I say no idea is that strong as this idea, that let us have collaborations for exchange of scientific knowledge. So we need to have collaborations. How we can do that? We have to start our collaborations and we have to search where we are fitting. Which universities, which institutions, which technological houses have some similarity with ours and make collaboration MOUs. MOU is the first thing we have to do. And then we have to reach to understanding. How we can reach to understanding? Through conferences, through workshops, through seminars. Sometimes we are not conscious what we have to do. You have to make ourselves conscious. So you can give them the feeling that we need cooperation here. The first conference was held in Makkah, 1977. There was the proposal made that Muslims need a university. And that proposal went through. And then two universities came to fore. One was Islamic University Malaysia, Islamic University Islamabad, Pakistan. That was based on conference. Sometimes conferences, seminars, workshops, debates give you the feeling that we need to do something. Rulers may be not conscious of these things. Scholars should be. Teachers should be. Researchers should be, because we do research. We know the ground realities. Rulers ought to be made aware about that. So we need this. You and we will join hands and work, and we have to approach Muslim countries for that. We have Malaysia, we have Saudi Arabia, we have Iran, we have Turkey, and we have a very good institute nowadays, Triple IIT. Through that we can start. I was just 2 days back with Dr. Habib Khirzan. Habib Khirzan, he is the representative of Triple IIT in Indonesia. We had a good discussion for 2 hours. So I was convincing him that let us do something, have workshops, seminars, conferences, so that we may have collaborations. Somewhere we have to start. We may not do big, let us do small. Because in Chinese saying is, even the journey of 1,000 years starts by first step. You take a step, then you will start your journey. Don't think big, but do big. Have very limited goals, but have them consistently, systematically, and coordinate every action. Take, steps to implement whatever you decide. You have made a MOU, be after it so that it is implemented. And whatever we want to do, let us do it consistently. We should not leave things halfway. We should be serious. So this is the first thing. After Islamic education, making our Islamic education, Islamic learning as the philosophy of science of every subject, we need to have collaborations for resource sharing. This is second point. Third point is that we have to establish various type of think tanks. For example, we have made a program, we have made a MOU. Let there be some people who will monitor this. Everyone's responsibility is no one is responsible. You are saying we are 27 universities and we have made MOU with this university and that university. And now no one is coming forward. So what will happen to that MOU? That will gather dust. So what we have to do, we have to monitor. We have to be after it. We have to get it implemented. So we need to have maybe one person from each university or 2 persons. We have 27 universities, 2 persons. They are responsible to take care of the implementation of the MOU. So that we are meeting sometimes and we are insisting how to do this. This is third point. And then there is very important point which is more important than this. We need to make our ideas clear. We need to make proposals, write books, booklets, and show what is the importance of collaborations. Have seminars based on practical issues rather than talking about theoretical issues. Theory is very good. I am also a theoretician basically. But problem is that we need to talk about concrete things, how we can implement something. We have a seminar, we have a conference, how to implement our MOU. Let it be only on that. What are the areas where we need to operate? Where you can help us, where we can help you. What are your weaknesses? What are our weaknesses? For example, you have a problem, English. I don't know why Turkey and Indonesian people are not speaking English. I don't know why. English is not haram. I am not a mufti, but I can give fatwa. This fatwa I give, as has been said by Badiuzzama Nursi, Arabi wajib, Turki lazim, Kurdi jaiz. Badiuzzama Nursi of Turkey said, Arabic is compulsory. Without that, no Muslim can become a good Muslim. We should know Arabic, very important. Then he said Turkish is also very important, very necessary, because it is our language, national language. Then he said Kurdi jaiz, the Kurdish language is also allowed, no problem. Had he been today, he would have said English is jaiz. We are not learning English. You know, when Arabic was the language of Muslims in Baghdad, and the books of science were in Greek language and Syriac language, help came from the Christian, scholars who translated the Greek books into Arabic. So they needed that time Syriac language, and they learned, and books were transferred. Nowadays, all knowledge is found in English, let me tell you. We may like it or not, but by liking and disliking, things don't change. West has been able to get all knowledge transferred into their own languages. When you want to control some nation, you control their language. You control their literature. You control their culture. You control their language, poetry. And they have done it. They have translated all books into English. If you want to work on Islamic studies, you have to depend on books written by the Orientalists. Although you are working on Islam, but you have no books which you can depend on from your own writers. You want to teach Islamic philosophy, you have to depend on Henry Corbin, or you have to depend on Oliver Lippmann, and at the most Hussein Nasr. But Hussein Nasr is not different from them in his approach. Let me tell you, I am a student of this subject. So why? Because they have interpreted our philosophy. You want to know Islamic science, you have to study William Brayford, Making of Humanity, History of Science, Sarton. You want to know Islamic history, History of the Arabs by Philip Hitti. Even I am not able to write on my own subject, which will be read by my students. So how I can talk about science and technology? So my point was, very important point is here, that we need to focus on textbooks also, on the subjects. And whatever good knowledge is somewhere, we should get it translated into our own languages. For one weak area of, for example, I was just talking about weak area in Indonesia. And then I will tell you what's our weak area. Your weak area is English. Our weak area is Arabic. Let us exchange. You give us Arabic, we give you English. Some teachers from Kashmir may come here, and then they will have classes in English to the students, to the teachers, whatever. And some teachers from you may come there, and they will teach our students Arabic. And martial arts, you have very good. You have very good martial arts, mashallah. I like it. And so that can be exchanged also. And then we can also do something, whatever is lacking. For example, basically we have to create the atmosphere for speaking English. It will be a great favor by our university authorities if they make their children to speak English fluently. Dr. Marhamma and her colleagues and other professors and the vice rectors, if they are able to make our children able to speak English in modern times in Indonesia, that will be a great contribution. Language is not haram, because language has been taught by Allah. وَعَلَّمَهُ الْبَيَانِ. فِاخْتِلَافِ أَلْوَانِكُمْ وَأَلْسِنَتِكُمْ لَآيَةٌ. In the difference of language and colors, there is the sign of Allah. Language is also sign of Allah. Muslims, where Al-Farabi was knowing 26 languages, 26 languages, Al-Farabi. Our friend Humaydi has worked on Al-Farabi for his PhD. Farabi was knowing 26 languages. But we don't know other than Basha, Arabi, Kashmiri, Hindi. What is this? We can learn more than 10 languages. Every boy can learn, girl can learn more than 10 languages from psychological point of view. So why not we give, and if you are learning English, it becomes for you a gate to much knowledge. You will get a lot of knowledge. You will be invited. You will be able to read the books. You will be able to write articles. And you will get exposure. Exposure is the most important thing. And if you want to learn a language, make mistakes. The only grammar for learning language is mistake. This is my thesis. If you want to learn a language, make mistakes. This is the first grammar. First principle of grammar of language, learning language. So you are afraid of speaking, then you don't speak. But when you create environment, how that can be created? When you come to some other university and lecture there, present paper, you have to speak in English there, you can't help. I was in Jogja. There was one man who was my liaison. He is a professor in Islamic philosophy. But he does not know anything of English. He knows only Arabic, Basha Arabiya and Basha Indonesia. So when I met him, I could speak Arabic, but I could not speak Basha. But I started speaking with him English. For 11 days I was with him. Now he speaks English. Alhamdulillah. He feels now, oh, I got the chance to speak, and he speaks. And he is now very empowered. He does not feel shy to speak. Because we need atmosphere, environment. And how that is produced? When you have a seminar, we have a conference, you have to present a paper in different languages. So you have to prepare for that. According to Mirza Mutahari of Iran, he says that why the people who were not Arabs, they have done more work for Islamic sciences than Arabs. Because that was a challenge for them to learn Arabic. When you make something challenge, you excel. When you take things for granted, you never go ahead. So you think, no, I have to learn this language. And I have to master this language. That is a challenge. And man is led by challenges, not by easygoing. When you have a target, then you work for that. When you don't have target, you don't work. You don't make proposals. You don't. When I have to prepare a lecture, I prepare a lot. When I have not to do anything, I don't do anything. Because I take it as a challenge. If our students will take, our research scholars will take, our teachers will take it a challenge that we have to learn other languages also. Our great impediment is English. I found in Turkey also this problem. I used to go to Turkey again and again. So they say, what are we from? Kashmir. They put their hand on their heart. Oh, we love you. But they are not able to speak, to express this love. Then I say, Zabane yari man Turki, magar Turki ne midana. The language of my friend is Turkish, but I don't know Turkish. What is the point? Where we are not able to talk, what is that point? So we have to search for some common ground where we can talk. And nowadays there are two languages. One is Arabic, second is English, which can become the meeting point for us. With the Muslim word, Arabic, with the non-Muslim word, English. And when we do that, we will learn the technology of the West. We will understand what we mean by 4.0. Because books are found in those languages. Literature is found in those languages. And we should not deprive ourselves from that knowledge, because that is not in our language. So this is first challenge for us. So, and now one point which I would like to emphasize also is, let us have a calendar. Let us have a calendar for implementation of our programs. Yearly calendar. We may have some conference here, we should be knowing that. Maybe 9 months before. We have a conference in Kashmir or India or some other country. We should be knowing that 8 months before, so that we may prepare accordingly. How that can be made possible? When we have monitoring groups, we have to make monitoring groups. Someone has to be made liaison. We have to take these things very seriously. And I think that if we do this, inshallah, we have a lot of potential. We have a lot of resources. We have a lot of scholars. We have a lot of researchers. We have a lot of methodology courses. And one important point where we need to implement our MOUs is research methodology. You want to write books, I will give you training. What else you need? I have written, for example, 45 books. I have got training in research methodology. I can provide you. You may write in Basha, I may write in English, I may write in Arabic, no problem. But you need to know methodology. We need to have some methodology for research, for our research scholars. And let us start our research degrees from at master's level and bachelor's level. Don't wait only for PhD level. So in this way, these are some of the areas where we can, first I will just now sum up. I will give the gist of what I have said. First I just try to say that we need a philosophy of science, because nowadays we are following Western philosophy of science. And what is that? Hedonism, utilitarianism, consumerism, valuelessness, neutrality, no values, no character, nothing is building. We need Islam back in all fields of science, so that we may have scientists, we may have doctors, we may have engineers, but they should be well versed with Islam, Islamic values. They should get training, and Islamic studies people should give them learning at every angle to make them good human beings, good Muslims. This is the first point. Second point is that it was Islam which has created that civilization once, and we can take help from that. When they could grow those days, why not today? When Quran and Prophet was the only guide to the Meccan people, to the Arabian people, and they became great civilization. So far as education is concerned, science is concerned, they conquered the whole world. Why can't we do this again? Because Quran is same, prophetic teachings are same, they are there. And whosoever follows these, as Nursi would say, if a non-Muslim wants to become scientist, he has to leave his religion. Then he becomes scientist. If a Muslim wants to become scientist, he has to go back to his religion. Let us go back to religion and become good scientists. Even non-Muslims became Muslims like Morris Bakali. When he studied Islam, Quran and science, Bible, then he became Muslim. Why not we? Islam has given us chance for doing all these things. This is second point. Third point is, whatever resources Muslim world has, we need to share those resources. First, make assessment where are which resources. Then how we can use that? By making MOUs, collaborations, taking advantage. Fourth is making liaison people, monitoring groups for implementation of the different collaborations we have decided about. Fifth point is that we need to have workshops, seminars, conferences, and on the implementation aspect of these subjects, rather than theoretical discussions, so that we may do these things on a very constantly permanent basis. It should be not we have done seminar today and next 5 years after. No. We should monitor what we have done, what we have achieved, what are the weaknesses, what are the limitations. So this. Finally, we need to have conferences, seminars where we are able to get exposure. Allow our youngsters, our research scholars, our teachers to speak, to talk, to meet, to discuss, to interact. And in this respect, I said that, for example, I gave example, if you want to learn English, possibility is that some people from those countries, Muslim countries where English is good, they may come, they may speak, they may talk. And you have some knowledge, you will go to those countries. And secondly, your students, your teachers will come to those conferences, seminars, workshops, and they will get exposure, they will get mixed up. And atmosphere will be made, created, then things are learned. When you create atmosphere, no one learns things at his home or her home. And I end with this hadith. Man salaka tariqan yaltamisu fihi ilma, sahallallahu tariqa ila al-jannah. A person who just takes any path to learn knowledge, Allah makes his way smooth into paradise. Any way of knowledge. Man salaka tariqan yaltamisu fihi ilma. Any ilm. And Islam has not made ilm into Islamic and non-Islamic. There is only two types of knowledge in Islam. ilm nafi and ilm gair nafi. Either ilm is useful or it is harmful. Whichever ilm is useful, that's Islamic. Allahumma inni a'udhuka min ilmin la yanfa. And Ghazali says sometimes the fiqh knowledge becomes harmful, but the knowledge of judgment becomes useful. So it depends on your niyat, intention. If your intention is Islamic, you may be doctor, you may be engineer, you may be anything. You are in the way of Allah because you have adopted the way to learn knowledge. But if your intention is not good, you may be reciting Quran, but you will not get reward for that. You may be offering prayer, Allazinahum an salatim sahun, but you will not get reward, you will be punished. But if your niyat is good, you may be doing anything, you will get reward for that. So Islam has not made any difference between secular knowledge, mundane knowledge, worldly knowledge, Islamic knowledge. No. Every knowledge is Islamic when we make it, it's integrated with the values of Islam, with taqwa, with amana, with ibadah. Even a scientist can become a better Muslim than a theologian if he has Islamic orientation. So with these words, there is a lot of hope to have interactions, to have collaborations, but important thing is we have to be more serious about implementation, not just making programs, not just making MOUs. So and there has to be the monitoring, and we need now we may be doing some workshop next year, inshallah, this year. So where we can meet different universities will be together, inshallah, and I have talked to many people. So in Indonesia also. So I think that this is the best the basic point where from we can start. Min aina nabdaw. So let us start from somewhere. And alhamdulillah, we have started from somewhere. Last month we had the MOUs. Now we have some document in our hand. We can code that. So this is the first step. But now implementation is very important. So you have to just monitor it and you have to work on it. You have to be insisting on it because people are sometimes negligible. They do remember, they have problems. So we need to persistently pursue these all objectives which we have made. Wa akhir dawana in alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Thank you. MashaAllah.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dear Professor Nasir,